My name is Tanya Re. I am one of the founders of the UNESCO Chair, Anthropology of Health, Biosphere and Healing System from the University of Genoa in Italy. I am a medical anthropologist, and today I have the pleasure to introduce you the theme of the event and our speaker. The event has been organized by USI UNESCO Chair in ICT to develop and promote sustainable tourism in World Heritage Site from Lugano, in collaboration with the UNESCO Chair in Anthropology of Health in Genoa. So a brief introduction to this event. So the historic sanctuary of Machu Picchu has become a major icon of international heritage, both cultural and natural ones. It has been attracting over the years a huge number of tourists, challenges its capacity and posing relevant risk when it comes to its preservation and conservation. The COVID-19 pandemic has stopped mass travels, showing at the same time how important it is welcoming travelers in order to communicate such world heritage and its outstanding universal value, while at the same time ensuring the sustainability of tourism development. Digital media may play a relevant role in striking this complex and dynamic equilibrium. So let's start with the first speech from Adine Gavazzi from the UNESCO Chair, University of Genoa. Adine, she's an architect from Polytechnic of Milan, specialized in anthropology of the Andes and the Amazon, research heritage of forest culture, healing, landscape, and pre-Hispanic and indigenous ceremonial architectures. She is also, with me, one of the founding members of the UNESCO Chair Anthropology of Health of the University of Genoa in Italy. And she is professor of National University Pedro Ruiz Gallo of Lambayeque and of National University of Quillabamba in Peru. She's also the director for the cultural components of the Rio Abiseo expedition on the mixed World Heritage Site, Rio Abiseo, and of the Water Festival of Lambayeque in Peru, FAR-IC Lab. So the title is Digital Archiving of Outstanding Universal Value Resources for Specialists and Experts. So Adine, you have the floor. 10 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for introducing me really too well and forcing me to be at the level of what you just said. Thank you very much to two chairs and so many participants to this tiny, but in our opinion, very meaningful event as to what it means to add digital contents, digital technologies to the sustainable effort of preserving, promoting, and disseminating outstanding universal values for World Heritage Sites. Our chair is active in Machu Picchu together with the Ministry of Culture in the section of the regional area of Cusco since 2012. And we essentially activated an analysis of the monument through a number of techniques, which allowed us to slowly but surely generate capacity building activities. While we were doing it, we found out that building up scientists and building up professionals who work in World Heritage Sites is different than building capacity and knowledge on any other archaeological or monumental site. So my brief intervention here will show you how and why we change our perspective in order to define new resources and generate a digital archive of outstanding universal value resources for specialists and experts. Let me just see if you all see my my screen. Do you see it? Do you see my presentation? All right. So Machu Picchu has attracted a lot of attention, and of course, because of its conservation, does need a type of register and record, which allows different analytical research to be activated. In our case, it's a combination between archaeological, topographical, and architectural efforts that has the objective to define a 3D archive, which contains all the information you need when you have to activate very defined and very focused conservation strategies. So we first generated digital modelings, but we slowly turned them into modelings to activate and understand universal values. Why is that? Because instead of just generating capacity building for regular scientists or regular researchers, our aim is to generate World Heritage scientists. What do we mean by that? We mean scientists able to connect and converge their strategies, their research with the management, the necessities, and the aims of the activities into a World Heritage site. Naturally, we have a 3D scanning and classification of the area, and we combine the registered and recorded knowledge with total station cloud pointing until we define a set of digital values that define later a 3D models. But each and every element that we discuss has to do with those universal values which determine the intangible part of the monument, the Inca culture, the reasons, the objectives, and little by little, by educated technically and scientifically, we also educate our students towards the notion and the comprehension of what does it mean to generate a conservation on World Heritage site. What does it mean that this monument embodies literally universal values? How do you use science to safeguard this? And how do you apply the methodology that you generally need to conservation and you enrich them with these elements? In this picture that was taken a few years ago, you see a combination of archaeologists, architects, and topographers, both from our chair and from Machu Picchu, combining together their knowledge in order to best define 3D renders that contains answers to the questions of the archaeological conservations. This is the result of their combined work, which we can see quickly and briefly, and the analysis on how did the construction evolve, how was each and every single element and morphology and technology applied. The answer to all these elements has helped us to understand the entire monument as a body of progressive work. And by generating digital 3D models, you can also reconstruct buildings that are not there anymore. You can do archaeoastronomical analysis, which we see here, for instance. There is the reconstruction in the fuchsia red model of a building that isn't there anymore. And because of that, we were able to understand and define and simulate digitally what happens, for instance, in the winter solstice. None of this would have ever been possible without the combination of science, effort, technology, combined with the values that are embedded into the description of the nomination of the monument and the yachta and the park itself. The same aim is applied when we enlarge our analysis using LiDAR, which means we simply change the scale but we ask the same question, and we try to understand how the Inca understood the planning of their territory. Why did they work on the top of the mountains, for instance, instead of on the bottom? What does it mean for the environmental planning? And what does it mean today? The results of all this work goes into a very big publishing effort, which was guided and curated by Fernando Astete and Jose Bastante, the two latest directors of the site. The first was active during 30 years on the park, and the one was recently nominated. Because of this continuity and because of this capacity building, we can now say today that we do have an activity for capacity building of World Heritage Site scientists. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Adine, to be on time with this wonderful presentation. And let's go for the second speech. We have the honor to have with us Jose Miguel Bastante, who is the director of the National Archaeological Park of Machu Picchu. Jose, he is an archaeologist with a completed study of master degree in cultural heritage management and a PhD in social science at the History Faculty of the National University of San Marco in Lima. He is a member of institutions such as the College of Archaeologists of Peru and the American Society of Archaeologists. Since 2013, he has been the director of the Archaeological and Interdisciplinary Research Program in the Historic Center of Machu Picchu, and between 2019 and 2022, he also served as head of the National Archaeological Park of Machu Picchu. He authored numerous publications about the archaeology and history of Machu Picchu. The title of Jose's speech is Building the Image of a UNESCO Site and Evaluating the Conservation Status Through Professional Photographs. So, Jose, you have the floor. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Tania. I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation to share with you a little bit about Machu Picchu. I'm just going to put the stopwatch so I finish on time. Okay, let's share screen. Okay, can you confirm that you can see it? Okay, perfect. Okay, basically, Machu Picchu is an exceptional site. What is commonly visited is just these two areas, the urban and the agricultural area. But Machu Picchu is way bigger than that. These two zones are basically 10 hectares, but the real extension of the Yacta or Inca city of Machu Picchu is more than 700 hectares. Now, what it's inscribed in the World Heritage List as a mixed heritage is the Historic Sanctuary or National Archaeological Park of Machu Picchu that encompasses more than 37,000 hectares. It's all the green that you see here. And within its borders, we have more than 60 archaeological sites. This is just a little example: Vizcachani, Huayna, Chachabamba, Puyo Patamarca, Sayacmarca, etc. Now, we have also more than 300 kilometers of pre-Hispanic roads that connect absolutely everything. And now, if we're going to talk about pictures and Machu Picchu, the Yacta, the Inca city, that it's definitely the most important site because of its dramatic location and the amount of effort that the Incas put in building it in a very strategic place between the Andes and the Amazon. Machu Picchu, it's not a Camp David. Machu Picchu is not a country house. Machu Picchu is a political, administrative, and religious center of the Incas. The first one that actually took pictures of Machu Picchu is this gentleman here, Hiram Bingham III. On his first visit to Machu Picchu, to the Yacta, he just spent there no more than 2 or 3 hours. But on 1912, he came back with an interdisciplinary group of researchers and did a lot of work, not only Machu Picchu, but also in the whole area of Pichu and Vilcabamba, and in other places around Peru and even Bolivia, including Tiahuanaco. The Peruvian Yale expeditions that he directed produced a lot of information. Sadly, in 2010, and I say sadly because it seems the agreement memorandum between Yale and the Peruvian government for the artifacts that Bingham excavated in Machu Picchu was written by Yale lawyers. They forgot about the artifacts that he excavated in other sites. They forgot to consider also the reports, the camp diaries, and one important thing is the photographs that the expeditions took. Not only Bingham was the photographer, there was Tucker and Lanius and Erdis and other people working that were also photographers. There is basically around 12,000 pictures from the Yale Peruvian expeditions. From those, approximately, let's say 600 or 800 are of the Yacta itself. Now we're going to go through some of these pictures. They're pictures are very important historic documents that can let us, for example, identify the people that were working or living around the area. This is the case. Tomás Fuente, Richarte, and Alvarez are 3 peasants that are living actually in Machu Picchu city. When Bingham arrives, George Eaton in charge of the excavations of the funerary caves, and the gendarme, there was always somebody from the army. This is after the third clearing and burning of the nuclear area of the site. This is Erdis, the guy in charge of the excavations inside Machu Picchu, inside the nuclear area. And here Bingham says, with the help of Mr. Erdis, I took then 500 pictures of the ruins. This is the first picture of the campsite the day before Bingham actually arrived to Machu Picchu on the 24th of July. Here we have the Sargento Carrasco from the Guardia Civil. And now we go with the comparative analysis. The picture of the left is Bingham's or one of his assistants. And the picture of the right is our pictures from 2014 till 2019. As we can see, there is not too much variation. What we wanted to do with this is to see if there was any change or things that have been affected during the years. As we can see on the pictures, the Peruvian government has done, especially since the 30s, an exceptional job in maintaining and conserving Machu Picchu. For example, the dintel here, there is cracked. The other pieces here, so they just put it back to its place. This is the house of the Inca. Bingham liked people in his pictures to see the scale of the constructions. The trees growing on the top of the gables of Machu Picchu. This is the inside of the Royal Mausoleum, like it's called. A lot of the names were set up by Bingham, and we're still using them. Here, the guardhouse, the Temple of the Sun. You see, we just added the roof. Just some structures have a roof, staircases. this is how basically Machu Picchu was found, and this is how it will look after the first clearing. More staircases, the water mirror enclosure, the Temple of the Three Windows, and the Sacred Plaza. You see, there's this screwed wall is missing here, but it's not part of the architecture really. It's like a spot where people will get up and continue the work, because these temples were in process when the Incas abandoned the site. This was fixed during the 50s or 60s, and if they didn't intervene it, we will have been in trouble, because the whole structure will have collapsed. The inside of the temple, of the top part of the Temple of the Sun, you see the huge trees that were growing. This is the main temple. We were permanently monitoring this structure, and there's no displacement of the lithic elements. This is a picture, for example, of Tucker, 1911, because Bingham sent him to clear the ruins and make more photographs and a more precise map. Top of the Temple of the Sun, the first excavation, of course, on the main temple, even though they didn't find anything. Here we can see that the gable, it's more complete in the Bingham picture. We don't have the same cameras. We didn't wanted the exact same pictures. We just wanted to see if there was change. And yeah, there's some kind of change. This is important because it's a picture that Bingham took in 1915 when he came back after 1912, and he saw, and he wrote it, in 3 years, the vegetation has already covered Machu Picchu again. So right now there's 50 people permanently dedicated to maintaining Machu Picchu. And if it wasn't for that, if we leave Machu Picchu unattended, in less than 2 years, with our analysis, the vegetation will claim it back. Sacred Rock, the main temple, and in Tihuatana. I'm just running out of time, it seems. So, of course, they had to chop down all the trees before burning everything. The visit of the people of the University of Cusco, San Antonio Abad, while Bingham was working. And this is the little book that we published a couple of years ago, but we're doing another one with all the pictures, because Nat Geo Society is already digitalizing all the pictures, and it's going to give us like a copy in good quality, and there will be a lot of surprises there. And just to finish, because yeah, my 10 minutes are over, we're going through something that is very important that has been proposed by Valcárcel, famous historian from Cusco, like a long time ago. And this has been taken by Johann Reinhardt, and he made a very interesting book about the sacred geography of Machu Picchu. Why did the Incas build it there? One of the main reasons is because of the surroundings. So this is a picture taken from the Machu Picchu mountain. You see the Huayna Picchu, the Putucusi, the nuclear area of Machu Picchu, but like I mentioned, Machu Picchu is all this. From there, you can see the Salcantay mountain. That is one of the most sacred and powerful deities in the area. These are pictures taken from another archaeological site that is Huizcachani. That's the nuclear area, Machu Picchu mountain, Huayna Picchu mountain. This one is taken from the Putucusi. That is the nuclear area, Machu Picchu mountain, Huayna Picchu mountain. Here from Yactapata, another archaeological site. It's the nuclear area, the Huayna Picchu. The Putucusi is this rounded mountain. This one is taken from Inti Punku, from Sungate. This one is taken from one of the new roads that we discovered in 2014. This is a zenithal view of the top of the Huayna Picchu mountain. This is a view from the Huayna Picchu mountain towards the nuclear area. Temple of the Moon, the Great Cavern on the other side of the Huayna Picchu. And this is the last picture that is super interesting, that we're going to put it in bigger. So you can see the nuclear area of Machu Picchu, the Huayna Picchu, the Machu Picchu mountain, and 20 kilometers to the south is the Salcantay. The Salcantay is protecting the site. And this is one of the main reasons why the Incas built Machu Picchu there. There's other reasons, definitely, like the existence of some springs, because without water, nothing will happen. And that will be basically, I just passed 1 minute. Like I didn't mention, you can download the 2 first tomos of the book in the webpage machupicchu.gov.pe. We're still working on the tomo 3 and 4. The pandemic has hit us really hard. And just a correction, I was the chief of the park till July of this year. There's a lot of issues regarding the pressure of tourism in Machu Picchu, even though we have proved that there's definitely things that are not compatible with its conservation. Now, meanwhile, for a couple of months, I'm in charge of the archaeological park of Choquequirao. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jose, for this presentation, and thank you for all the images you showed us. They were wonderful. Thanks. But so let's remain inside the National Archaeological Park of Machu Picchu with its manager. So with Miguel Zamora Salas. Miguel, he's a specialist in planning and management of Peruvian tourism, with 40 years of experience in the development of regional tourism in Cusco. From 1996 to 1998, as regional director of tourism in Cusco, he created a unified policy for economic development. As National Director of Tourism of the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Tourism from 2002 to 2006, he expanded the principle applied in Cusco to a general planning strategy. In 2011, he directed the most successful Inti Raymi Festival, inviting more than 650 artists to the event and receiving the widest press coverage ever recorded for this situation. Since 2014, he has been head of the Office of Visitors and Tourism Services at the National Archaeological Park of Machu Picchu. So the title of Miguel's speech is Strategic Planning for a Sustainable Tourism. So thank you, Miguel, and you have the floor, 10 minutes.
Thank you, Tania. Thanks for the introduction. My regards to all the select audience, and this is a special thanks to the organizers of this important event on cultural policies and sustainable development, to build an agenda of cultural integration.
Sorry, just that we can see you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My presence in this event is focused on commenting about the actions that were implemented for sustainable development of the tourism in the archaeological site of Machu Picchu during the last years. In the present dissertation, statistical tables will be shown, which will facilitate the audience the understanding of the importance of the implementation of strategies that contribute to the conservation of the archaeological site as a World Heritage and the satisfaction of the tourist visit. Let me share my screen with you to have the presentation. Okay, it's shared. You can see it, right? Okay. Without a doubt, Machu Picchu is the main natural and cultural tourist destination that Peru has, and one of the most important sites in South America, having registered 1.5 million visitors during the year 2019, prior of the COVID pandemic. We should see. Sure. Okay. In this chart, I can show the flow of tourism within 2017 and 2019. The growth of tourism these years, as you can see in the table, has a growth rate higher than the average growth of tourism in South America region, which according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, figure an average of 4.5% pre-COVID. Here in Machu Picchu, we had had during these years increases up to 14% from one year to another. It should be noted that starting 2013, after having exceeded 1 million visitors to the archaeological park of Machu Picchu, new measures were designed to contribute to the conservation of the site and generate constant flow on expected growth. Since 2016, where we reached 1.3 million visitors a year, the Minister of Culture made new measures. For example, a new exit road was built. It should be noted that before, the entrance and exit to the archaeological site was through the same place. And inside of the site, fragile areas were restricted and visiting roads were assigned, establishing one-way circuits. It is important to mention that during 2016, visitors during and before 2016, visitors could re-entry 2 or 3 times the site the same day with the same ticket. As an additional comment, in the following table shows the flow of visitors according to the origin, highlighting the visits of foreign visitors over national ones. What do we have in Machu Picchu? Just about 1/4 of the visitors yearly are national and 3/4 are foreigners. No? We can see here clearly in 2019. I have to remark that 2019 was a special year for Peru. We had lots of political convulsion, and the intention of the Peruvian visitors inside of the country was a little bit lower than years before. But as generally, we can say 30% visitors are national and 70% visitors are foreigners. And as additional comment, I show the table, visitors, no, wait. Well, I must indicate that the flow of visitors to the archaeological site of the park is seasonal. Having peak months, however, the comparison between year and year indicates that the growth is a constant and sustainable. Clearly, we see here that we have high months, and that repeats year after year. It's just about the same position. July, August, till late September is our high season, and we have lower season during the month of January, mid-January till beginning of March, which is the rainy season, and the visits are not as intense because of the weather. Recently, post-COVID, new roads have been implemented that improve the low distribution of visitors organized in 5 different circuits. Nevertheless, since 2016, we have implemented this table, 9 different hours of shifts to enter Machu Picchu, is each shift within a special amount, with an assigned capacity people, 800 people, 800 people. This was before COVID. After COVID, these figures reduced a little bit, and then lately were increasing. In virtue to these measures adopted, Machu Picchu has positioned itself among the 10 most important destinations in the world in the recent years. But just to show you, at the moment, we have designed 5 different circuits to organize the visit to the site. This is one circuit that includes the upper part and part of the nuclear area. It's called Circuit 1. It takes about 2.5 hours to visit. Circuit 3 has a bit longer period of time visiting the nuclear area and some of the platforms and the lower part of the site, as is shown in the blue sites. Circuit 3 is a very shorter one in the just the lower part of the area. It's about 1.5 hours. It's for older people, people that cannot walk. We have to remember that Machu Picchu is full of steps up and down, and there's people, because of their age or certain problems, they cannot do the whole walk. The 4th circuit, it's another 2.5 hours. It allows you to visit the lower part, as it's indicated in blue. And the last circuit, it's organized for the visitors that has done Inca Trail previously, and they arrive on the upper part. They arrive on this upper part, visit, take a quick view of the upper part, and then they go out, leave their stuff, and enter into the lower part after taking some minutes of his time eating or whatever. No. However, all this planning and ordering effort is threatened by the lack of commitment of the current authorities, who seek the complacency of short-term vision of local authorities and formal and mainly informal tourism business community, destabilizing everything that has been advanced so far. To assure an efficient management, competent and compromised professionals committed to the vision of sustainable development are needed, as well as the compromise of all the community and the political class integrants. But at the present time, there is a bad of lack of these capacities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel, for your presentation, to be on time. And but the time rushed very quickly. So let's go to the let's move to the third part of the event related to media and communication. The speakers are Lorenzo Cantoni and Silvia De Ascanis from the UNESCO Chair of Lugano. A brief introduction to Lorenzo Cantoni. He is the Deputy Rector and Pro-Rector for Education and Students Experience of Università della Svizzera Italiana, USI. He's full professor within the Faculty of Communication, Culture and Society, and Director of the Institute of Digital Technologies for Communication. He is the chairholder of the UNESCO Chair in ICT to develop and promote sustainable tourism in World Heritage Sites, and the director also of the Master in International Tourism. Silvia De Ascanis, he is a senior lecturer and researcher at the Institute of Digital Technologies for Communication of Università della Svizzera Italiana, USI, in Lugano in Switzerland. She is also the coordinator of the UNESCO Chair as Lorenzo. Her activities lie in the intersection area among information and communication technologies, tourism, and heritage. Lorenzo and Silvia recently published the Handbook on Heritage, Sustainable Tourism, and Digital Media, which summarizes the work done along the years with several collaborators of the UNESCO Chair. There is also a contribution about the project in Machu Picchu that is part of this event. The title of their presentation is Digital Communication of the Outstanding Universal Value of a UNESCO Site. So I don't know, I think Lorenzo, you will start. So Lorenzo, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Tanya. I'm very happy and honored to be with all of you today. So in the first presentations, the first two ones, the connection between heritage and digital media, that connection has been clearly outlined, while in the presentation by Miguel, the tourists have been factored in. And for sure, as Miguel was suggesting, tourists are part of the problem, especially when it comes to so-called over-tourism, but for sure they might even be part of the solution. And the very idea by UNESCO of a heritage suggests that people are to inherit such heritage. And more here in Lugano, we are considering that it's not just going and visiting, but you need really to earn the visit itself. So you need to demonstrate that you are doing a visit which is fully respecting sustainability and responsibility. So here we have designed a framework which analyzes the interactions between digital media, heritage, and sustainable tourism along 5 main dimensions, which are, whose acronym is pretty simple, A, B, C, D, E. So Silvia and myself would briefly present those elements, starting from access, going to better connect, disintermediate, and educate. Silvia.
Yeah, so hello everyone, and I will start presenting the framework with the first letter of the Latin alphabet, that is A, that stays for access, meaning that digital technologies, digital media, they can enlarge access to multimedia information about a heritage destination. In this way, they support tourism in all the planning phases, and they can increase awareness about the value and the meaning of heritage sites. Given that nowadays the access to information is almost borderless, in fact, one just needs a Wi-Fi that works well and without any special restriction. There are 2 main issues that are becoming more and more critical. The first issue is that of the information quality, meaning that any information found on the web needs to be carefully assessed, evaluated in order to understand if it has a good quality. So if it is credible, if it comes from a trustful source, and so on. The second issue is the one of cultural localization. And cultural localization is a topic that we are investigating quite a lot here at USI in Lugano. And it means the translation of cultural contents for people coming from different cultural backgrounds. A couple of examples about the access possibility given by digital media. Here is a link to a series of short movies that have been prepared by the Swiss Commission for UNESCO. For each one of the Swiss World Heritage sites, the Commission prepared 3 or 4 videos addressed to different audiences, going from the general public to experts in different fields or even children. Here is an example of one of the several documents that we have published about the topic of cultural localization. And in particular, this is a report that we have published together with the European Travel Commission, where we analyzed the localization of some the websites of some national tourism organizations.
After A is B, better. So while accessing information, ideally high quality information about a World Heritage site, you are not supposed to be already there, but you can start dreaming about visiting it. And so better focuses on how digital media can be orchestrated in order to enrich the visit while on site. Here, the main tools are so-called location LBS, location-based services. So services which are taking into account where exactly you are and when you are visiting a place, for instance, providing information about opening hours or like it has been suggested about how crowded might be different paths. So to avoid going through the most visited in that moment path. Here, augmented reality is the most important, I would say, current trend, because on the one side, it ensures it's not virtual reality, so it's not immersive. It ensures that your senses are fully engaged with the visit itself. But at the same time, you can use your screen. It might be most probably your smartphone, could be a tablet or other screens, in order to get additional information about the place you are visiting or the specific object that you are focusing your attention on. Digital media can be used, like it has been suggested also by Miguel, also in order to better manage the flows, or for instance, provide information about the fact that in that specific moment, there is no any possibility to visiting a specific spot. If you can move, yeah, here, for instance, you might see an example of augmented reality taken from a case in Europe, from Cluny. But you can add, in augmented reality, you can really add elements from different senses. So in this case, the sound shirt has been designed in order to support people who cannot hear to enjoy concerts. So you get haptic reactions while the music is being played.
Then if we go to the connection possibilities given by digital media, these refer mostly to the fact of establishing a better connection among the three main actors in the field of heritage and tourism, that are heritage, residents, and visitors. So in improving the connection among these three main actors, digital media can offer paths to a deeper understanding of the meaning of heritage, and even turning such heritage, tangible and intangible, into more lively experiences. Also, digital media can leverage the power of heritage interpretation and communication, because they can offer different tools and different representations, and also they can allow the storytelling to have a bigger impact, because digital media can improve the way in which stories about heritage are told. A special mention here goes to Web 2.0 and social media, because social media, they have the power to keep away the walls. So in a way to put in connection directly the senders and the receivers, and also to make, the special, the everyday. An example here, a very beautiful case, a project that we have developed in the last years, is called eyewear batik. So in eyewear batik, we developed both a website and a mobile application. Batik, Indonesian batik is an intangible textile heritage originally coming from Indonesia. And thanks to these two types of digital media and thanks to the use of an artificial intelligence, people can recognize the type of batik, of a piece of batik textile. In this way, having access to the meaning of the specific piece of textile, but also taking a sort of virtual tour in the places where it was produced. This way, connecting him or herself with the people who produced that piece of textile heritage. Machu Picchu, so our case, Machu Picchu in our framework can be put between access and connect. In fact, the digital media we are developing, so the website, the pictures put in the Iconoteca, and all the storytelling that my colleague Anna will later explain more in depth. So they allow people to enlarge the access to information about Machu Picchu. They allow people to see directly the pictures that were taken by people living there. This way, improving the connection between visitors, between users of the web and residents in this wonderful place.
So very briefly about this intermediate we can use digital media, especially for, let's say, emerging destinations in order to ensure that most of the money which is spent by travelers goes to the local communities. So in many cases, intermediators, especially travel agencies or tour operators, are getting most of such money. We had several examples, but I think we can move on, Silvia, to the next slide and the next one. So social media can, in this sense, so also disintermediate the opposite direction. So in a sense, even not being fully aware of it, but we can listen to what or observe what travelers are doing while visiting a place, for instance, listening to or analyzing the pictures they are taking or the comments they are providing. So there is a closer connection between people in the tourism sector, especially people, locals, with travelers themselves.
Yeah, last but not least, the educational function of digital media, referring specifically to the sector of tourism that is characterized by high turnover, seasonality, and by small and medium-sized enterprises. So people working in the tourism field, they need to keep themselves updated, to update that skills constantly, but many times maybe they do not have the time, they do not have the budget. So the economical possibilities to travel in order to increase their training. And in this sense, e-learning comes in as a key tool. And in fact, through e-learning, education becomes flexible, both in terms of time and in terms of space. For instance, just a couple of examples. Some years ago, we developed a course addressed to travel agents about Switzerland. So to help these travel agents to train themselves about Switzerland, to know this place and to sell it. Also, the MOOCs, massive open online contents, are an interesting tool that allows everyone, because they are open to anyone without any special precondition. So they are open for people to train everywhere at any time. And e-learning during the COVID pandemic, it was actually a key for people working in tourism field because they couldn't actually do their work, so organizing travels for people, but at least they could improve their training and their skills. What we have presented to you, so the framework together with many more cases and examples are reported in the handbook that Tanya mentioned when she presented, myself and Lorenzo. So the handbook is available. Some of the chapters are available in open access, and we kindly invite you, if you are curious to know more, just following the link or writing the title. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Lorenzo, and thank you, Silvia, for your presentation. And let's conclude with our last but not least speaker, Anna Pico-Schwendener. The title of her speech is very interesting, and it is how to imagine and represent the outstanding universal values of Machu Picchu without having been there. So, Anna, she is a postdoctoral researcher at the Faculty of Communication, Culture and Society of USI in Lugano, Switzerland. She works as a scientific collaborator at USI UNESCO Chair in ICT to develop and promote sustainable tourism in World Heritage Sites, and at USI e-learning lab. As the project manager of the Machu Picchu project, she coordinates the activities of the project and interconnects all involved parties. So thank you, Anna, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for this introduction, and thanks to all of you for this nice occasion on sharing experiences about Machu Picchu. I'm very happy to be here, and so my part, I will actually going to present you a project on how we used information and communication technologies to promote cultural and natural value of Machu Picchu. So we have, or let's say I have done all this work without ever having been there to Machu Picchu. But I also have to say that this summer, I then had the chance to finally go there and visit the place and see all the things that I have learned during this project and see them by myself and get to see and know personally the people working there, which was a really impressive experience. But now back to our project, and I also thank to Silvia, which already tried to frame a little bit what we have done within the ABCDE framework. And maybe you can recognize some aspects that Lorenzo and Silvia have already introduced to you. So in the project, Machu Picchu seen through the eyes of Fernando Astete, the UNESCO chairs of Genoa and the one of USI closely collaborated with Fernando Astete, who dedicated more than 30 years of his life to the preservation, the conservation, and the research of Machu Picchu, and has been the director of the park for many years. So during his activities in Machu Picchu, Fernando Astete took about 2,000 images, and at a certain point, he actually expressed the wish to digitize these images. It so came that at the beginning of 2020, just before the COVID-19 pandemic, Adin Gavazzi personally brought a selection of about 200 images or slides of Machu Picchu taken by Fernando Astete to USI. So these were pictures representing Machu Picchu's constructions, the surrounding nature, and the people working there, all telling a specific story. So Adin asked us whether we could help her digitizing the slides and make them available to the public at large together. But not only. The idea actually was to valorize these images and their stories and use them in order to create awareness of the cultural and natural value of the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Machu Picchu, and also to favor a respectful behavior of tourists and to help actually preserving the place for the future. So what happened? Together, we actually identified two different digital solutions to share and promote the images of Fernando Astete on the web. So on the one hand, we published the high-resolution images enriched with metadata on the professional photo archive called Iconoteca in order to make these images available for the scientific audience and also in order to guarantee their long-term preservation and conservation. So we have actually opted for the Iconoteca as it is the photo archive of the Accademia di Architettura di Mendrisio of our own university. And this Iconoteca actually hosts image collections related to constructions and territories. So it was perfectly in line with what the images of Fernando Astete actually represent. So at this point, I actually would like to share my screen and show you how this looks like. Just a second. Okay. So this is the Iconoteca archive, so Iconoteca dell'Accademia di Architettura. And if you scroll down, you can see that on the first page, we also have our collection, Fondo Fernando Astete. So on the first page, we have a main image. We have an introduction to this collection. We have some words about Fernando Astete itself. And then below, we can see the list of images that we have already loaded. This is still a work in progress. So you can see by now we have uploaded 70 images. The last was just during the last days. And let's have a look at one of them. So you can see there is always an image. You can enlarge it. You can download the high quality image. And there is a structured way to actually describe the image and also the content of the image. There are some descriptors, some tags, which allow to easily find these images also on the World Wide Web. So this about the Iconoteca. The second project we did, or the second part to promote the work of Fernando Astete, was to create a dedicated website to tell the stories of Fernando Astete's images using a simple and captivating language in order to make them accessible also to the non-expert public, so to the public, to the people at large, to the citizens. No? So to develop these stories, we have been meeting with Adine on a weekly basis for months, actually, mainly during the pandemic. This was very interesting. So during these meetings, Adine, she was actually able to act as a link between us and Fernando Astete and transmit us the profound meanings of Fernando's images. So by now, the website contains 13 stories, all documented with the images of Fernando Astete. The website is available in English and Spanish, and we're currently trying to get it translated also in Quechua, the language of the Andean people. So this is in fact very important for us in order to actively involve also the local communities in our initiative, which is about their story, which is about their past. And this should also be a way to show respect to their culture and to actively involve them in their heritage. So at this point, I'll show you quickly the website. So this is the website. Here on the homepage, you can see there is an introduction to Machu Picchu. There is an explanation of the outstanding universal value, where it is located, some images of the place, some words about the project, and so on. Here we can go to the stories that we have developed. You can see there is, for example, a story about Fernando Astete himself. One story called The Fire and Discovery of the Lost Inca Trail, Or again, Machu Picchu from an uncontaminated paradise to a mass tourism site, and so on. So if you're curious, I will share the links afterwards. You can go there and have a look about this site. So the webpage and the archive have been actually officially presented to the public in October 2020 and have since then been regularly promoted through the social media channels of the two UNESCO chairs of Genoa and of USI, and also through events they have organized. We are particularly proud also to have been included into the official website of Machu Picchu of the Ministero de la Cultura and the Dirección Desconcentrada de Cultura de Cusco, which helps promoting our website. So this I just quickly show you. This is the official website of Machu Picchu. You can see these different circuits that have been explained to us previously. And here you have the link to our storytelling website. So with this, I hope that I was able to give you some insights on how we use ICTs to promote cultural and natural value of World Heritage Sites. At this point, I just quickly share the slides I prepared with the links. So here, in case you're interested, you can see how to access the Iconoteca and here the storytelling website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And we have to go to the conclusion. And so I would like first to thank all the speakers and all the participants to our meeting. It is very difficult to summarize all the contents you gave us, but let me give the chance to add just a short take-home message. World Heritage Sites must be visited forever and by the future generation, but they are very fragile. Only if sustainable tourism drive the future, the promise to preserve the world heritage, this would be possible. And communication and media, we think that are an essential part of this process. So there are no questions, so I don't know if any of you want to add any comments to the other speakers.
I just want to thank you so much, Tanya, for your moderating the session and all the colleagues. It has been really an honor for me to be with all of you.
And thank you to you, Lorenzo, and to the USI UNESCO Chair to host and to inviting me to moderate this event. And so we hope to have a next opportunity to stay together, and we hope to meet together in Machu Picchu with also the people who are listening to us. Thank you
very much. It was really a super occasion. It's the demonstration that different UNESCO chairs can unite under common goals and work together in a World Heritage Site. We really are the embodiment of and the evidence that it is possible. It is obviously not easy. It takes continents, it takes languages, it takes a lot of effort, but this is the evidence that it's possible. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time and also the atmosphere that is always generated whenever we're trying to honor the incredible memory of Machu Picchu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.